December 8th, 2018. Grace Millane walked into her Tinder dates apartment in City Life, Auckland, New Zealand. The CCTV captured Grace and her date walking into the foyer of the building and then taking the elevator up to his floor. That was the last time she was seen alive. What happened to Grace Millane? How did she disappear? And who did she meet? Grace Millane was born in Essex, England in 1996 to her two loving parents, David and Gillian. She was the youngest of three siblings, having two brothers, Michael and Declan. Her family described her as friendly, artistic, and lively. Her father owned a successful construction business, and the Millane family lived an extraordinary life thanks to it. Grace attended St. Thomas More High School and enrolled in the University of Lincoln. In September 2018, she graduated with a degree in advertising and marketing. Grace had been saving money to go backpacking right after graduating because she wanted to go on an adventure before embarking on the next phase of her life. She cut her long hair and donated to the Little Princess Trust before leaving for her trip so it could be made into wigs for children with cancer. She then packed her stuff, said her goodbyes, and boarded a plane to begin her journey. She first went to Peru, spending 6 weeks in South America. She met with other travelers along the way and was keen to share her travels with everyone back home. On November 19th, she flew to New Zealand alone and went to Auckland 11 days later. On December 1st, the day before Grace's birthday, Grace left her hotel just before 6 p.m. to meet someone by the name of Jesse, whom she connected with on Tinder. Grace's date messaged her on Tinder and eventually asked her out for drinks. Although unwilling at first, Grace finally agreed and she and Jesse made a plan to get some drinks. She met Jesse in Sky City, an entertainment complex in the heart of Auckland with bars and restaurants. The two shared a hug before heading to a burger place for some cocktails. At first, their conversation was somewhat frigid and dry, but as time passed, they began to warm up. A few hours later, they went to a place called Bluestone and had a few drinks there. The two appeared to be having a great time and everything seemed to be going well. When Jesse used the restroom, Grace was left alone for a while. Grace sent a message to her best friend back home saying, "I click with him so well. He's an oil manager. He lives in a hotel." Jesse also told Grace he was moving to London in a few months, giving Grace hope for a long-term connection. At around 10 p.m., they left the bar arm in arm, headed down the street, and walked towards Jesse's apartment. Grace's birthday was the following day, Sunday, December 2nd. Throughout the day, Grace received several social media messages from her friends and family back home, but she didn't reply. She had been sending texts about her trip to everyone back home nonstop, so it was concerning when she didn't respond to birthday wishes. Her phone was switched off, and anyone trying to call her was directed to voicemail. Her family and friends started to worry. No one knew where she had gone, but those close to her knew something was wrong. Her parents contacted the Auckland police and reported her missing. It didn't take long for the police to identify a suspect. Thanks to the hundreds of CCTV cameras in Auckland, they identified Jesse. 26-year-old Jesse Kempson was born in Wellington, New Zealand, and had moved several times as a child after his parents split up. Jesse was described by everyone who knew him as a liar. He lied to employers, landlords, and partners. He lost several jobs and homes because of his lies, mood swings, and womanizing. For example, he told his landlord in the City Life Hotel that he was a top manager for Woolworths, a top retail brand in Australia. His compensation had not yet come in though, so that's why his state benefits were paying his rent. Jesse was not an oil manager, as he told Grace. He was a telemarketer before losing his job due to his lies, which happened on the very day he met Grace Millane. In short, he was a failure of a man. Jesse was the last person who saw Grace alive, and police knew they had to call him in to get to the bottom of this. And so, on December 5th, Jesse was brought in for questioning by the police. Jesse said nothing bizarre happened that day. The date ended nicely with a plan to connect again the following day, and then the two parted ways. He said that he noticed she had unmatched him on Tinder when he woke up the next morning, and that was where his encounter with Grace ended. However, Jesse's story did not line up with the CCTV footage. The security camera clearly showed both Grace and Jesse on the elevator in the City Life Hotel, both exiting the elevator on Jesse's floor, but Grace was never seen leaving the building. CCTV cameras captured Jesse leaving his apartment the following day. He was seen going into a supply store and buying a large suitcase. A few moments later, he went to a supermarket and bought some bleach, cleaning products, and rubber gloves. He then took a taxi to a local car rental company and rented a red Toyota Corolla. Several hours later, Jesse met with another girl he met on Tinder. His date said he was having disturbing conversations with her about burying dead bodies. He made his new date feel so uneasy that she declined his offer to get in a car with him and instead made her way home on foot. After this, Jesse brought a carpet cleaning machine to his apartment, saying that he had some red wine stains that needed cleaning. At 9:30 p.m., Jesse was seen wheeling 2 suitcases onto the elevator, both appearing full. He loaded the suitcases into his rented Toyota Corolla and drove off. Early in the following morning, he walked into a supply store and bought a shovel. After this, he was seen on CCTV power washing the rental car and returning it to the rental company. A few days later, he was seen dumping things in a bin in various locations. The police arrived at the City Life Hotel to bring him in for questioning. At the same time, Jesse was returning from a nearby shopping complex. As soon as he spotted the police, he quickly turned around and started walking off facing the opposite direction. The police, however, chased after him and brought him in for questioning. Although Jesse denied anything had happened, the police still thoroughly searched his hotel room. With concerns about Grace's whereabouts increasing, Jesse was taken into custody and brought in for questioning again. This time, though, his story had changed drastically. Jesse told the interviewer that he and Grace had consensual sex that night, and Grace asked him to hold her throat, which he did, after which he fell asleep. He also said that when he woke up the next day and realized that Grace was dead, he went into shock and panic. He put her body in a suitcase and drove out to bury her. However, he still denied any guilt. The already unpleasant story was made even more disturbing by the forensic examination of Jesse's room. The police uncovered Grace's blood on the carpet using a chemical compound, despite Jesse's attempt to clean it. Jesse Kempson was arrested for the murder of Grace Millane. The police started looking for Grace's body near the Waitakere Reservoir, where Jesse had told them it would be. And it didn't take long before they found a body 10 yards from the road, which police later confirmed to be Grace's. While under arrest, it was brought to light that Jesse was accused of raping another British tourist 9 months before he killed Grace. The victim kept the attack secret before recognizing Jesse's face on the news for Grace's murder. On December 10th, 5 days after Grace was reported missing, Jesse appeared in court in Auckland. He was granted interim name suppression to ensure a fair trial. The court also kept the rape he committed months ago secret, as that could alter the jury's decision. Jesse pleaded not guilty. An autopsy report revealed that Grace had been strangled. She had bruises on her arms and legs, and the pressure on her neck lasted about 4 minutes, enough to kill her. The police also went through Jesse's phone. They discovered that when Jesse found that Grace had died, he opened up a pornography site and took several suggestive photos of Grace's dead body. The defense argued that Grace's death was caused by consensual rough sex. They claimed that Grace had engaged in sexual encounters like this before, but this time it had been a tragic case of sexual misadventure. However, with a mountain of evidence backing them, the prosecution argued that this was not an accident. It was planned out, deliberate, and intentional. They said that Jesse had calmly set about covering his tracks, and he elaborated lies and stories along the way. On December 19, 2019, after 5 hours of deliberation, Jesse Kempson was found guilty of the murder of Grace Millane. He was sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility in 17 years. This case prompted many people to express their disgust at how Grace's character was questioned in the trial. Some said it was blatant victim blaming. All in all, the case of Grace Millane is tragic. She was a brilliant woman with goals and ambition, which she will now never achieve due to a pathetic human being.